Disneyland News Time! This is where we take a look at all the headlines, all of the Disneyland stories worth sharing. And we start out by talking about something very, very positive, and that is the percentage of capacity that theme parks are able to reopen with now. Well, it has just gone up. As a matter of fact, Disneyland Resorts, theme parks, Universal Studios, theme parks of that size are now in a much better spot to officially reopen at a higher capacity. Theme Park Insider writer Robert Niles says theme parks in Los Angeles and neighboring Orange County are eligible to reopen at 25% capacity, thanks to those counties today moving into a less restrictive tier under the state of California's pandemic rules. The change puts the two counties into California's Orange Tier 3, which allows theme parks to move from 15% to 25% capacity, pending county approval. This affects Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal Studios Hollywood, and Six Flags Magic Mountain. Los Angeles County officials, by the way, in a recent update, have announced that the orange tier changes will take effect on April the 5th, meaning that Magic Mountain will begin at 15% capacity for its first days back, and Orange County is approving the move, looks like already, when it comes to this new capacity. So fantastic news on that front. We're also hearing some odd restrictions that are in place for the reopening of Disneyland. Not only this news that's positive, but also some strange news on the front where there's a potential where indoor rides, and we're seeing this reported more and more now, according to the state of California, can only be at a certain level tier, can only be conducted, these indoor rides, at 15 minutes and below. So if a ride that is primarily indoors, an attraction that is indoors, extends beyond that 15-minute mark, it may not reopen officially with the theme park. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, potentially. That's one of those things that just, I don't understand. It's very odd to me. Movie theaters are back open. You can be in a movie theater with people for 2 hours, but 16 minutes
Outrageous.
In an indoor attraction,
Dangerous.
COVID chaos, ladies and gentlemen.
Danger.
I mean, a meltdown begins.
Yes.
So I don't understand that one.
Do you think that includes Rise of the Resistance?
I do.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the Orange County Register used that as their primary example when they were reporting on this, saying there's a real potential here that we could see this star attraction not reopen with Disneyland until the state feels more comfortable with it. Again, make it make sense, I think, is the Tyler phrasing that we like to use around here. Make it make sense. I don't know how that one measures up. And again, I go back to like the movie theater concept. I'm in a room with these people for 2 hours straight, you know, and they're eating. Can't eat on an attraction. You know, I'm socially distanced on an attraction. I got my mask on. 16 minutes, 18 minutes is, I think 18 minutes is Rise of the Resistance. So 18 minutes is going to put us in meltdown mode. It's
is
so
18
bizarre.
minutes like when you're in the queue to go into like the Ray queue to go out to go into like the little spaceship, or when does that minute start? Because technically you are outside for a brief period of time to get inside the
you're
the
moving
loading,
a lot.
like the loading period. So technically you're in and then you're out and then you're in again.
Yeah, you're moving quite a bit.
So
yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't make sense. You're definitely moving from place to place quickly. I mean, it's, I don't know. I guess you're near the same people, but then when you get to the actual ride portion, there's only, 8 people in a car, and they're not. I don't think they're going to put 8 people in it, to begin with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's crazy. That's
a little funky.
Yeah.
Yes. And we also learned this week when it comes to state guidelines and ticket sales, obviously Disneyland reopening, as we've mentioned before, only to California residents, only to people in the state of California. We are in a good place now where lots of restrictions are starting to being peeled back quite often, as a matter of fact. I mean, much faster than we've ever seen in the last year. So great positives all around. Just, again, very particular things coming from a state level when it happens to impact these regulations. In fact, we see here reported via Disneyland, they say, per the state guidelines, the name and contact information of each person who purchases a ticket to the parks should be collected for contact tracing purposes. This information must be provided by the ticket purchaser, who will serve as the main contact on behalf of his or her entire party. In addition, at the time a guest purchases park tickets and makes a park reservation, the purchasing guest must confirm that the guest's party size will not contain more than 3 households, and that the guest and all members of the guest party are California residents, since the guidelines limit theme park attendance to in-state visitors only. So this is something that came out a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact, but is getting a lot of play now as one of those things that, people keep questioning, how's this going to work? State of California having to be in the state in order to go to Disneyland at this point. I don't think this is going to go on for very long at the rate we're moving, which is good news. Obviously we're not going to have to necessarily wait around very long for more restrictions to be pulled away. We're already seeing that 25% increase bump up. And if things keep going on the downtrend, and as I heard today, 100 million people have already had at least one shot of vaccine. That's tremendous news domestically. That's tremendous news here at home in the United States. Abroad's a different story. A lot of people aren't able to travel into the country at the moment because of the lockdowns everywhere. But this news for the Disneyland side seems to be all moving in the right direction, Katrina.
Yeah, I think it's like moving up, and they moved from 15 to 25% capacity so fast. It was like, what, 2 weeks? Barely 2 weeks. It was like boom, boom. And I was like, whoa, hold the phone here. And so maybe it's like another month or so until we move to the next tier, possibly.
Mm-hmm. I don't imagine it'll be long. I think we're entering great territory here. And, again, hopefully everything stays this course and we keep seeing numbers drop like crazy. And you're right, things have moved awfully quick as of recently in terms of percentages jumping around. So great news there. I'll tell you, over on Disneyland Park's reopening front, there's also some news this week about, a little more alcohol seeping in to our lives. That's right. Over in New Orleans Square, it turns out that Blue Bayou Restaurant, that classy interior restaurant tucked away alongside the Bayou of Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, if you're an adult Disneyland fan, you probably already know that Club 33 and Oga's Cantina are the only two places to get booze in the park. But with Disneyland's highly anticipated reopening on April 30th, there will be a new spot in town to grab a mixed drink, and it goes by the name of Blue Bayou Restaurant. While the restaurant isn't new, it's getting a totally revamped menu to open its doors with, and after a year without Disneyland due to COVID-19, many of us are no doubt ready to indulge in a beverage or two. The new menu will include beer, wine, and a special hurricane cocktail, among other things like a non-alcoholic mint julep. It's even said that it'll be offering a celebration sparkling wine package. I mean, how fancy is that? It does sound like the restrictions for the alcohol being served in this location is that it has to be consumed there. It's limited to 2 drinks. So, no walking around with it outside, kind of like California Adventure allows you to. You can stroll a little bit. Can't really do that inside of Disneyland. So the restrictions still being put in place. I think we all knew with Oga's Cantina being sort of that gateway, allowing in the alcohol to Disneyland Park, that eventually it was going to pop up somewhere else.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about this since before Galaxy's Edge even opened, because back when we were on another outlet, even we were talking about how there were being there were being taps and stuff being built into Galaxy's Edge. So we learned that, and then we were like, okay, so they're also building Tropical Hideaway at the same time. Like Blue Bayou is going to be a really obvious choice for alcohol. I think Tropical Hideaway, I bring it up, and I've been thinking this for years now, that I swear in the next few years here they're going to be serving little rum floaters on the Dole Whips. Like, I really do believe that. And I think we're going to also see Carnation Cafe possibly get alcohol down the road.
Sure.
So this is a long time coming. I think they've been planning this for a while, trying to figure out how, to do this. I think with everybody so happy to come back now that COVID has taken us away from it for, a good year, everybody's going to be like, okay, you're bringing back alcohol, but at least I'm back at Disneyland. I can't be too mad at you. Can't be too mad, Disneyland. I love you. But so I'm not one of those people that gets upset about it. And I think having a 2-drink maximum, it's like people aren't going to be walking around wasted. I mean, and really, like, if you're worried about people walking around wasted, like, you can still go get wasted over at California Adventure and then walk over to Disneyland. Like, it's not that hard. Like, so I don't know.
Your wasted tips this week by Tyler Crouch. That's right.
That's not even a tip. That's just saying, like, listen, you're not really preventing that much is all I'm trying to say, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So, I don't know. We all knew it was coming. So I would actually have to guess that a lot of that is probably one of the biggest questions they get when just like, regular guests would go in there like, oh, do you guys have beer or anything? Wine?
Like,
No.
Do you want a mint julep?
Right.
No.
It
But
does feel like a very classy establishment.
swanky.
You would kind of anticipate, especially with like a maitre d', and you have these upscale sort of nods to a restaurant that would have alcohol.
Right.
Yeah.
It is kind of surprising when it does not. And I mean, for what is it, 60 plus years at this point, it hasn't, and most people have known.
I mean, it's a small step forward, and if they even did do something at, I mean, again, like Tropical Hideaway is like a perfect area because it's kind of closed off, so they can like stop people from taking alcohol, and then even if they did like the rum floats or something, they can still serve it in one of those like weird iridescent colored cups, so they know that there's alcohol in it. Is that the right
word.
color?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Is that I don't know. But
That's a good word.
yeah. Okay.
Calm down.
I was like, is that the right word? Oh my god. But anyway, but they can serve it in one of those iridescent cups, and then they can stop them being like, nope, there's alcohol in there. No. And if you really need alcohol, like if you're just like, ugh, I just need, go pre-order it on your phone.
No, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Wait. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh my god, that's like such a mom look I gave him. I'm like, anyway, but like pre-order it on a mobile, like on your mobile phone, and walk across the way to go get it. By the time you order it and walk over to like DCA, it'll be done.
Not too
Order
hard.
a beer, it's not a big deal. But I just don't want it. I just don't want like a drink. People walking around in Fantasyland. I just can't even imagine them spilling beer in Fantasyland or something. I'm gonna lose it. It's just precious ground. I'm okay with sit down restaurants though, because in Magic Kingdom, you don't even know really.
Yeah.
Like it's out of sight, out of mind. You're just like, oh, like I'm gonna go to Skipper Canteen. Wait, you serve wine and beer here? Kind of thing. You go to Be Our Guest, you pay $80 for their dinner, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But you don't really think about it when you walk around. So this is like, I think it's like how they're doing it's really nice.
Yeah, as long as they keep those restrictions in place, shouldn't be too much of a problem. You're right, Magic Kingdom's a great place to point to. You don't really see it out and about or anything, so that's good news. Let's jump over to producer Kurtz. When it comes to adding some booze back into Disneyland Park in a few more spots, at least one at this point, what do you think? Are you somebody that likes to have a little wine with dinner?
I don't drink much in the parks.
Oh.
That's just the way I am, But hey, I'm not opposed to people. Back to your guys' point, I have a friend who brings in a stroller and he hides his booze underneath the baby.
Oh my god!
So no one's gonna search there, right?
Nobody,
so if you want,
now they will.
Now they will. So if you want to bring alcohol in the park, I mean, you're gonna get it. So why not? Disney make some money off of it.
Why not?
I mean, those prices are gonna be pretty high for a glass of wine, and it's gonna be like, not a great Estancia or something, some gross cheap box wine or something.
Yeah, and plus, like, there's so much security around there. You're not gonna be able to pull anything fast on them. Like, you're not gonna get.
What are you gonna do? Pour it in a flask? You're like having your 2 glasses of wine. You're like pouring it in your flask, being like, I'm gonna get away with it.
Well, at least I will have my alcohol somehow. Well, let us know in the comment section down below what you think when it comes to Disneyland, including another location in which to have a libation. After all, it was Walt Disney many moons ago who said he didn't really want alcohol in his Magic Kingdom. It brings in the wrong crowd. Those were his words. We've also seen over the course of time lots of changes happen within the Walt Disney Company that Walt at one point said he didn't like, and then he went ahead and changed himself in the short amount of time, especially when Disneyland was open and he was there. And then over the course of time, we've also seen cast members be able to have beards for the first time. That was something he said we probably shouldn't have and has become a little bit more socially acceptable to do. So let us know what you think. Moving along here, when it comes to Avengers Campus joining the California Adventure Fray, the Orange County Register is reporting that Avengers Campus is going to be a little bit like Disneyland's Tomorrowland. When I heard that headline, I freaked out a little bit. If you know Tomorrowland at Disneyland, it is a place that is stuck in so much of the past and has just a terrible time moving forward in terms of technology and in terms of attractions and experiences. And it's been a product of not being able to move forward and have all the right things come into place in terms of new attractions and entertainment. And they've just kind of let it exist on its own for a little bit. And rather than go pay attention to it, they built Galaxy's Edge. Rather than pay attention to it, they built Marvel Avengers Campus over in California Adventures. So it's kind of funny to hear the Orange County Register say that Imagineers are on board to make it like Tomorrowland. The quote reads, "We realized that Avengers Campus was really our opportunity to create a Tomorrowland for California Adventure and really look forward and tap into that spirit of Silicon Valley through inventors like Tony Stark and to really dream about what the future could be," Walt Disney Imagineering Executive Creative Director Brent Strong said. Strong said fellow Imagineers Scott Drake, John Morrow, Brittany Howell, and Steven Spiegel took part in the recent D23 Fan Club Magical Milestones 20 Years of California Adventure online panel hosted by the Imagineering story documentary filmmaker Leslie Iwerks. The new Marvel-themed Avengers Campus will debut later in 2021, the story says, after California Adventure reopens on April 30th, following a year-long coronavirus closure. Avengers Campus was set to open in July 2020 before COVID-19 put that project on hold. So obviously, this is something where what they mean is they can keep changing it over the course of time. Walt Disney's original vision of Tomorrowland was this is a world on the move. It's going to keep growing. It's going to keep becoming something different because the future is always happening and it's fun to look into the future. The problem is you got to have people that are, number one, willing to spend the capital to keep doing that. And number two, bring that group together for the sake of creating something and hopefully it works. Tomorrowland has had a lot of problems over the course of time, especially at Disneyland. There are other versions of Tomorrowland around the world and even sort of offshoot versions of Tomorrowland that seem to work a little bit better in theory because it's not constantly trying to predict what the future is going to be like and then just get stuck in this retro future type atmosphere where nothing really changes and it's just kind of a depressing part of the park. So it's cool to see that they want to do this with California Adventure and have a land that can keep growing and keep becoming. I just hope they commit to it.
Yeah,
That's the question, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, where are the droids at Galaxy's Edge?
We were promised
droids.
droids.
I
Right.
don't. Where are the space aliens? Like where's the story? They're even throwing the story away already. Like,
Yeah, weren't they supposed to like follow you when you go to the stores and stuff to continue your story?
there was supposed to be like, yeah, there's different, scoundrel, rebellion,
Yeah.
whatever, First Order, and that doesn't mean anything, even though they said, oh, your personality is going to follow you through the land. It doesn't
Right.
doesn't do
Your
anything.
droid makes a different sound if you put the chip in. That's pretty much it, right? Like that's
So the only
Makes
thing,
sense.
the main thing that I can think of changing over time at a Marvel area is like, okay, we're going to now tear down Doctor Strange's area and build another themed area, and then we'll put another Marvel character there that is now popular in a new series of movies that's going to be coming out, in the next decade or whatever.
Mhm.
So I think that's what I could see changing over time. I wouldn't expect the Spider-Man ride to change. I wouldn't expect maybe the food will change here and there a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, I think you're right to be like, to compare it to Tomorrowland isn't the most. You don't want to hear that.
It freaked me out
right
when they
now.
said that. I was like, please don't say that. Those words together,
it's like dead ends.
yeah, you've already proven that you can't keep up with Tomorrowland,
Yeah.
and you've just sort of let it be. And this isn't really so much a criticism as it is a heartfelt depression from a Disney fan of what the idea of Tomorrowland was great. Walt
Yeah.
Disney's vision was amazing. And unfortunately, over the course of time, corporate politics and all of these problems get in the way of, sort of creating that futuristic vision of what that land's going to be. And then other projects take priority, and then you get what we have today. And it's basically a second shell of Star Wars. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on there. And I'll be grateful when it does reopen, thankfully. But it's just like there's not a whole lot happening in the land, and there's a lot of unused real estate.
Yeah.
Producer Kurt, what do you think? Avengers Campus, obviously coming online later this year, as the story mentioned. It's a place that doesn't have, in terms of growth opportunity, other than the Quinjet ride that's supposed to come up behind it, and in that last sort of parcel of land back behind California Adventure. That's the last real space that they can build into. Do you have high hopes that this is going to be Tomorrowland 2.0?
I mean, I would love it to actually be a working Tomorrowland. I love Marvel and that franchise so much, so
Yeah.
I have really high expectations for this. So unless it like really delivers, I'm going to be really sad, unfortunately. But I would be okay with them just bringing in, all right, current movies coming out, let's bring out those characters.
Yeah.
Try and evolve it to what's going on currently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just so that it kind of reflects that. I'd be fine with just that. They don't have to do a lot to impress me, I guess, but I just want so much from it. And
yeah, see, I'm not expecting them to. That's not what I expect out of this. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know if this is their words or just the OC.
Those are their words.
Like, so it's Disney's words, right?
That's the Imagineering team's words.
So just be quiet. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
lower the expectations.
Like, please, like,
just be quiet.
no, like, really, you're doing more damage to yourself by just talking about this. Like, just keep it on the down low, because you're gonna blow up expectations so much. And it's just like, I get it. You worked really hard on something, and we're going to appreciate it. I mean, sometimes I sound a little negative. I'm going to appreciate it. I'm so excited to go to the restaurant, to Pim's, and see the stunt show. I'm so excited for those things. But please let us experience it without like building it up so much, because it really ruins it.
I mean, like Galaxy's Edge, they started talking about all this stuff, and we're like, when's the droids gonna come?
Right.
Like, when the only thing I was like more intrigued about on Smuggler's Run was the detailing of the queue.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I was like, look at these vents. This is great vent.
They had that vent was machined somewhere.
I know. I was like, this. You can't buy this at Home Depot. Like, I was more intrigued by that stuff than the ride.
Disney nerd is the right term here. That's right. Wow. And
Make
it's certainly
a t-shirt.
true.
Look at that vent.
The vents, though. But what about the vents? You're right.
I mean, they are good quality vents.
They are great quality vents, yeah. And, we also heard from Bob Chapek, when he was the Disney Parks chairman at the time, releasing that information on a stage in front of everybody and showing concept art behind him of the greatest things that were still to come to Galaxy's Edge, and they just never happened. And, maybe over the course of time they'll introduce some of that stuff. We can only hope, but it looks like so much of it got nixed in creation, and that tends to happen. So at any rate, we are very much looking forward to Avengers Campus. Don't know if it was the right comparison by the Imagineering team to say it'll be like Tomorrowland, especially given the fan woes when it comes to a place like Tomorrowland at Disneyland. It needs so much attention, and I know many people agree. So let us know in the comment section what you think, how you feel about it, and if you're looking forward to Avengers Campus debuting this year, give this video a big thumbs up.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.